Hello, hello, beautiful people. Samara Stone here. Look, today we're having a conversation that is the third in a series of talks that we're doing about being human and being a therapist. You can check out some of the other ones where we've just talked some about this expectation of perfection that people have. We spent a lot of time talking about what it means to be in love and being therapists. And today, we are talking about being parents and being a therapist. So, look, you might think that having that psychology degree or having had a social work degree, that's going to give you a leg up in parenting. I got some news for you. My kids don't care about my credentials, and I don't think yours do either, right? So, we're going to talk some about when your professional skills have to meet like the real world of trying to be a parent, okay? Raising kids is, again, right up there with some of the biggest, most challenging things that we need to do in life. And I think it's because it's so like all encompassing. From the moment that you know you're going to become a parent, your life is forever changed, right? And this is what I call relentless sport in that it doesn't stop and it takes you well beyond your comfort zone into unexpected territory. And so there is this paradox when it comes to being a therapist that you really think that understanding human development and being clear about parental dynamics, patterns, and extended family and nuclear family, and all of that stuff that we learned in school about child development and emotional regulation, we really think that that's going to help us. But when you are actually in the midst of it, it's a completely different ballgame. And so I want to just normalize some of that for you. That as a parent, I don't care how many books you've read, you are only as experienced as your eldest child at being a parent. And so I know that we've read a lot of things and been exposed to a lot of things, but the way it feels in your body and in your life to actually be a parent is new to you. And it's only as old as your child is, the experience that you have with it. So be gentle with yourself, especially know that things aren't going to fit neatly into the box or on the page or the way that things are described. It's going to be a little messy, and that's all right. I think the other thing I want folks to know about parenting is that it really is an evolving journey. Your relationship to being a parent is going to change as you and your children grow. And so I want you to embrace that learning curve, right? Like really think about what you knew and understand about being a woman or a man when you were 12, and then at 25, how that changed your understanding of what it means to be a woman or a man. Well, you're now going through phases of maturity yourself and having to look back and watch someone, your child, go through those same maturity and stages, right? And so every stage brings different challenges. Every stage teaches new insights and new opportunity. And quite honestly, every stage allows you to get to know your child just a little bit more, okay? So let's talk about some of the ways that our kids can call us out, right? Some of the ways that our kids call us out. One way that I know my children have, called out is the therapist voice. They kind of have this sense that they can tell when I'm trying to analyze them or I'm trying to therapyize them, as they call it, the therapies, right? And here's what's true. When I get stuck and I don't quite know what to do, sometimes I do default into asking open-ended questions and using my I statements. And I do default into an inquisitive mode that feels a little therapeutic and a little less like just being a parent or being a person with them. So they're not wrong. I've been a therapist for many, many years. I've been in the mental health field since my 20s and I'm now in my 50s. And so it's a part of me. I can't totally separate that part from myself, but I do work to be a parent first and a mental health professional later. So when that happens, I just kind of let go of the pressure to get it all right. And I focus on trying to connect with my children in meaningful ways. I'll tell you one tool that I've been using with my kids for years, and it works beautifully at a variety of stages in their development. And I'm saying that about development. I have children, and at the time of this recording, my boys are 19 and 21, and my baby girl is 14. And I'm saying boys and babies, but these big old people are all taller than me at this point. But one thing I've used with my young people that's been gold in establishing communication and creating just a sense of openness is something that I call clear skies. And I taught this to them when they were very young, and they know that this is something that they can ask for and a space that I can create where we're going to have an open dialogue. I'll tell you how it works. So Clear Skies has some rules. One of the rules in Clear Skies is that you don't get to show up as a parent in that moment. Just for that moment, you don't get to probe with a lot of questions. You don't get to judge. You don't get to punish or provide consequences for what they say. Like, you really have to take the whole parenting hat, take it off and put it on the side. Ooh, that can be hard. That can be hard. But it creates a space where they can say anything. They have a place where they can provide some criticism for what you've done if they don't like how something is showing up. They can talk about a dynamic that they're facing in life without feeling like you're going to bring it back up later on and keep pestering them about more details for this thing that they shared with you, right? And most importantly, it kind of allows them a space where they can talk about their feelings openly without feeling the consequences of judgment, right? How nice is that? Like, we all need a little bit of clear skies here and there. But by doing this with them as a child, it really did make a space where I had to learn to calm myself to listen, and they had to learn to be brave enough to speak their truth. And it has worked beautifully over the years. So sometimes they may come to me and say, all right, Mom, clear skies. That's my signal to take my parenting hat off and calm down, to listen without judgment, and to just be really only curious in a way that helps them to keep talking and not me probing to try to get into the details of things. And when I say clear skies to them, it's their invitation to drop their guard. I don't need you to say what you think I want to hear. I don't need you to say what you think is going to keep you out of trouble. I want you to be real with me for a moment. So try clear skies. I'd love to see how it works for you. Right? So that kind of brings me to this next piece around tools and reality. Right? Like, that was a tool that I think I picked up from a child therapist someplace along the way. I'm sure I did. But I found a way to actually use that one in real life, right? And that was helpful. So there are times where you can adopt things that you've learned from the clinical setting and use them as tools with your kids, but you got to own it as your own. You can't kind of just approach it as a very clinical intervention. You got to kind of be present with your children and then find a way to fully embody whatever it is that you're looking to do, right? One thing I encourage you to do with your kids too is to be real in their presence, right? I mean, you're not perfect. None of us are. Neither are your children. So if we seem perfect, it makes it that much harder for them to sit with us when they've made a mistake. So normalize being human in their presence. It's okay for you to be grumpy. It's okay for you to have a disagreement with your partner. It's okay for you to have a bad day at work. Like, give them a slice of who you really are within age appropriateness, right? Like, so for me, as my children got older, I allowed myself to be a bit more present and authentic with them because I knew I was preparing them for a future and an adult life that I might not be privy to anymore. You know, I saw something that talked about how when our children are little, like prior to the age of 18, we see them almost every day. Unless they go on a vacation or summer camp, they're with us continually, right? But once they go away to college or move out of the house, the amount of time that you spend with your child dwindles. And that's okay, that's normal. But what that means is that they're gonna be out living life without you being present. And so the skills that you give them now to navigate adult life, they're gonna pull those out. You know how you might hear your mom's voice in your head when you face a situation? Well, you're about to be the parent voice in your child's mind when they're facing a situation. And so give them real stuff, not fluff, not Pollyanna, not utopia, not the perfection that we wish we all lived in. Give them tools for real life because they're gonna need them when you're not around. Another tool that I think is beautiful for you to ensure that you have and model for your children is apologizing and repairing. Learn how to apologize to your children appropriately. It teaches them that it's okay to make mistakes. It's a part of being human. And it also teaches them that how you handle the mistakes is what really matters. Now, sometimes you've met people where once they do something that's out of line, they don't even know how to come back from it. So they may stay on the path of just being wrong or not apologize, or just all of these maladaptive behaviors you see from people who don't know how to apologize and repair. Well, do your children a favor by teaching them that through modeling it for them. Show them, I know how to apologize and repair when appropriate, so they can be open to receiving you when you've made a mistake, and it makes it easier for them to apologize when they've made it. See, this is the part about building authentic connections, right? Not only are we building these safe spaces where it is like, oh, it's such a gift to give someone permission to be human. You're going to start by giving that permission to yourself and giving it to your child, right? That creates such a safe space for people to grow and have an authentic connection, right? And by modeling for them that you don't have to be perfect, it actually has them to respect you more in the spaces where you do show up with excellence. It's like, wow, mom might not do these things well, but look how she does this. So there's an appreciation for a dynamic human being that's not perfect, but that cares about them and is doing their best. And so I think that when it comes to being a parent, we do need some real strategies that are helpful. And one of them is about setting boundaries between your role as a therapist and your role as a parent. Like, you got to fully just embrace the messiness of parenting and not make it a reflection on who you are as a professional. Know that there are folks out there that are therapists who can work with your child, and that is their expertise, not yours, right? So give yourself some space to not have to show up in that way with them. I think being emotionally present with your children and genuinely emotionally present, it goes further than you might imagine, right? It goes further than you might imagine. And it will allow you to build a relationship that can sustain you and them over time. So I hope this is helpful in having some perspective on being a parent and also being a professional, right? Because these things are not easy. And quite honestly, this is the reason why I love doing the work that I do the way that I do it. Because I'm committed to helping people build businesses where they're making money, they get to set their own schedule, they're doing, they're working with clients that they enjoy, and they have room to live a good life. Right? They have skills to be in relationship. They have self-care habits that allow them to be their best. Like, the good life has both of these pieces in place. What you're doing professionally and how you're living your life personally has to intersect in order for you to have a real, full, juicy life. And that's the kind of life I want for you. So if you're curious about how we might work together to build your business, you know where to find the details. Otherwise, I want you to share this video with somebody who is a parent, is a mental health professional, and they're having a little bit of a challenge in navigating those two roles. Because perspectives like this, and the ones that you guys will share in the comments, because I want to hear from you, these are the kinds of things that it's like manna when you're trying to walk through the desert of parenting. All right. I hope today was helpful. Don't worry about being perfect. Listen, whatever happens with you and your children, there'll be other therapists in the future to help fix it. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. Your colleagues in the future will handle taking care of it. That's why there's so many opportunities for healing, because we all need them, because we were all raised by imperfect human beings, and that is okay. All right. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of business, and I will see you